Hello, welcome to another episode of How Can We Help? And the question that we got from a student today, and it's interesting, it's a sports related question, but it really kind of permeates through everywhere in business, is how do I dress for an interview? And if we're thinking about sports specifically, sports, it does tend to be a little bit more of a casual business. I mean, if you just look on the sideline or in the dugout of games, players and coaches, usually a little bit more casual, even after the pandemic. And if you're watching college basketball or an NBA, you don't even really see coaches in suits anymore. They're more maybe in like quarter zips and in some khakis. So it is a casual environment, the game itself, but sports teams and organizations are businesses just like any other business. There's that business function of them that is formal. So even though what you see on the court might seem casual, on that other side, on that business side, and we've talked about this in prior episodes, where about 85% of the jobs are, it's actually formal. It's just the product that we sell is a little bit different. So students wanted to know, how do I dress for an interview, whether it be an internship or you're looking for an actual job? So I wanted to walk through that with you today on how we can help. So I found this online. I think this is a pretty helpful picture on what you should and shouldn't wear. And I'll give my 2 cents as we look through this, having worked in the industry now for about 20 years. But we'll start with men here on the left. If you're looking for dress shirts, solid colors, preferably white, a blue is okay as long as it's kind of like an understated blue. But usually like your whites and kind of like your light kind of understated blues are usually the way to go with this. Long sleeve shirts, not short sleeves, not the white shroot, right? Long sleeve shirt, and it's going to be buttoned all the way up, right? And we're going to have a tie. And with the tie, I like this word, a conservative pattern. Everybody has their own individual style. There's some people who are a little bit more like the peacock with their clothes a little bit. I kind of like funky socks. But when we're going in for an interview or maybe going into work on that first day, think conservative. It's always best to let's kind of peel back a little bit on our kind of own personal style. And then once you kind of get the lay of the land for, okay, they're a little bit more casual with the dress code, or they're a lot more casual, they're a lot more laid back, then it's always easier to become a little bit more individualistic. But when we're first starting, conservative is always the way to go. Because again, teams and organizations in sport are businesses just like anywhere else. So that business function is going to be a little bit more formal. So as we're thinking about the shirt and the tie, should be solid colors, a little bit more conservative. Right? With your tie, gentlemen, your tie should end at your belt line. If it's up by your belly button, it's too short. If it's down to your zipper, it's too long. Tie your tie to where the end of the tie hits right there, right about the belt line. With your shirt, wearing an undershirt is appropriate. It should be a white undershirt. I don't know if that's a really huge rule either way or not. I wouldn't get too hung up on that. But solid shirt, solid tie hitting the belt line. Okay. Belt, gentlemen, if you do not know, your belt and shoes should match. So if you're wearing a black belt, you should have black shoes. If you're wearing a brown belt, you should wear brown shoes. And really, those are the only 2 colors you should be wearing. Again, once you get the job or the culture of the organization and you want to have a little bit more fun, maybe you wear a white belt with white shoes, that's fine. But first impressions are everything in business. And for the most part, even though we're getting to a culture here in the United States where things are a little bit more casual, a little bit more laid back, individuality is celebrated. For the most part, businesses are still kind of run in the traditional form that are a little bit more conservative. So brown belt, brown shoes, black belt, black shoes. It's your choice depending on your wearing. So if you're going to be wearing a dark suit like this, a black suit, maybe a gray suit, it would make sense to go with a black belt, black shoes. If you're wearing maybe a navy blue suit, brown belt with brown shoes would probably make sense as well, right? And small buckle, right? We don't want to go walking in looking like we won the rodeo with our belt buckle. Again, we want to be understated starting off. And then socks and dress shoes, right? Buy dress socks. So I've seen some students wear just like white tube socks with their suit. It's not appropriate. Buy dress socks that match your suit, dress socks that match the shoes. Black, navy blue, you cannot go wrong. But again, your socks and shoes should match, right? So over the calf, they should be tube socks, and make sure your shoes look good, look appropriate. They don't necessarily need to be spit shine, but they shouldn't have scuffs. You don't want holes in them. Again, we want to give our very best first impression. And if you look as well, gentlemen, right, his shirt comes just past the suit jacket. It's not way up by his elbow. It's not way down by his fingers, right? That's how you know you've got a good fitting shirt. Your pants, I think uncuffed is kind of the style right now, but if they're cuffed, it's fine. Nobody's going to put up a stink about that. But they're not too long to where they're baggy. They're not too short to where you can see his socks, right? I want you to look at his head. Conservative haircut, right? Again, I'm all for being an individual, but when we're going in for that interview, it's best to err on the side of being a little bit conservative. Now, I'm not blessed with a great head of hair, but if you are, and you want to keep it long, at least make sure that it's combed and it's trimmed and it's nice. Same thing with the beard. I think we're at the point now in our culture where beards are accepted. If you're going to have it, that's fine. Just make sure that it's nice and it's trimmed, right? We're not doing the ZZ Top thing unless you're going in to be for an interview to be a rock star, right? So this would be a pretty good representation for men here. You can see he doesn't have a lot of flashy jewelry as well. If you got one ring, maybe a class ring, certainly a wedding ring, and a watch, an understated watch would be appropriate, right? For ladies, we'll just kind of start at the top and kind of go down here for ladies. Same thing, we're kind of going to think a little bit more along the lines of conservative. And if you're looking at her clothes, dark colors are a little bit more conservative. As we make up, right, more of a natural look. Less is more when we're going in for an interview. So a little bit of makeup, it's appropriate. I think in our culture in the United States, it's expected. I don't think you need to feel like you have to wear a lot of makeup. But if you are going to wear makeup, we don't want to go overboard. It should kind of reflect more natural tones of your face, of your skin, so that the focus is on you and your work and not so much your makeup, right? Probably the best way for me to describe that. As we go down, let's look at the suit, the black, and the blouse. Again, a solid color. If we're going to go with the blouse, or if you want to do white, that would make sense. Again, I think for women, you could probably get away with a little bit more color options than men, but I would certainly keep it understated. Lighter colors, blues, maybe lighter greens, yellows. White is always appropriate. White is the easiest thing. And then as we look at the shirt, if you're going to go with a business suit, that is appropriate for an interview for ladies. But again, I would keep it black, navy blue, or gray. I wouldn't really kind of veer too far out of those colors there. If you want to do a pantsuit, that would also be appropriate as well. If you are going to wear a skirt, it needs to be a little bit longer. It does not need to be down necessarily way past your knees, but where it's hitting like right there at the knees would be considered appropriate for the skirt. Nails, if you want to get your nails done and nicely polished, again, that's appropriate, but keep it a neutral color. We don't want anything that's way, we don't want like Ferrari red. Maybe just kind of a neutral color, or just a gloss there that's not overly attention getting, but to the point where it shows that, I'm neat with a good appearance. You could trust me to go out and talk to one of your clients and give a good impression of our company. At the end of the day, you think about that, you're going to be fine. If we're going to wear hosiery or socks, right? Flesh tones, something that matches your skin color would make sense. Not having runs in them. So look if you have runs, if they're worn out a little bit, if they've got holes, if they've got tears, let's get rid of those and let's buy a new pair. And if you're going to wear a skirt, it's usually a pretty good idea to wear hosiery with them. And then shoes, high heels for an interview. It's a little risque. I would maybe go with just a little bit of a heel, 1 to 2 inches. Certainly closed toe is more professional in business, and match your shoes to your suit. Most women understand that. It's with my gentleman who I need to talk most with that. But if you're going to wear a black suit, you should have black shoes. Gray suit, black shoes would go with that. Maybe if you're going to wear a navy suit, navy shoes would go with that. So this is a representation here of what would be appropriate for an interview in sport or anywhere else in the business world. If you have any comments or if you want to add your own recommendations, please feel free to comment below, and feel free to get a hold of us if you have any questions.